This is the story of Greg and Sandra. You see, until you're in that position when you realize you have messed up really bad and you don't know what you're going to do anymore, you won't understand why Greg has decided to do what he's doing now. Sandra is adamant she wasn't going to give him a second chance. She loved him and believed him, but he not only cheated on her, he betrayed her in a very humiliating way. Welcome to my channel. This story of everyday people like you and I who made avoidable mistakes in their marriages will make you realize that marrying a godly and God-fearing person is the surest way to happily ever after. If this is the sort of stories you like, subscribe to my channel so you can get a notification whenever I upload a new video. Let's get right down to it. Greg solicited the help of Jane, an intermediary, to act as a link between him and his estranged girlfriend in order to help him plead with her and see if she can persuade Sandra to take him back. I really want her back. I don't know where to start my story, but okay, I'll just start from somewhere, he said.
I had a girlfriend that I treated badly and I want to see if there's any chance of her forgiving me and getting back with me. I understand I treated her very badly. I really messed up big time, no doubt about it, and I regret it. See, you really don't know the value of what you have until you lose it. I dated my ex-girlfriend for 5 years. She was very kind and supportive. I wouldn't trade her for anything in this world if I knew what I know now. She was a hugely supportive woman, caring and a big treasure. We had a very beautiful relationship. One I thought would last a lifetime. She was fun and adventurous. We enjoyed spending time and doing things together. You wouldn't be bored around her for a moment. She had a good sense of humor and very entertaining. She respected my opinion even when she had her own views. We communicated effectively and always negotiated matters until we arrive at a good solution. She didn't judge me or try to change me. She listened to me and tried to understand my perspective always. She never nagged or criticized me unnecessarily. I felt like a king around her. She was a great motivator. She celebrated my successes and comforted me in failures. She made sure she was always cheerful around me whenever I had challenges so I don't get moody or sad. She was a complete woman. She was supportive of my goals and dreams. Sandra helped me achieve my goals. She encouraged me. She was just nice. She didn't put me down or discourage me from trying new things. Unfortunately, I took her for granted. She was so faithful and loyal. She respected our relationship and never cheated on me. She was very truthful and commitment. She didn't flirt with other guys or give them any false hopes. She was honest and transparent with me and didn't hide anything from me. She is homely, dutiful, and beautiful. She's a great cook and manages her finances really well. However, my parents didn't want me to marry her just because of her state of origin. They insisted I marry another woman and I just respected them as my parents and gave in to the pressure. It wasn't about her or anything. She was a good woman who was worthy of genuine care, love, loyalty and honesty. I regret betraying her genuine love. It was just because of the part of the country she came from. My parents were persistent and persuaded me to leave her. I didn't want to be perceived as a disobedient son, you know our African tradition and culture, so I succumbed to the pressure. I treated my ex-girlfriend disrespectfully after all she did for me. I can't even believe it now that my understanding has returned to me like King Nebuchadnezzar. I just cut her off without telling her anything about my decision to marry. In fact, I was with her the week I got married.
So let me get it right. While you were lovey-dovey with Sandra, you started dating your wife. She had no inkling you were cheating on her during this period.
She didn't. She thought we were in a committed monogamous relationship. In fact, none of them knew about each other. Do you see why I can't see her alone without you by my side? I am married now, but honestly, that is not marriage. The marriage is over. What actually happened was, I spent a huge amount of money on my supposed wife. After we got married, I invested in her education to continue in the United Kingdom. She's always with him these days, flaunting their love in my face. Invested so much time, got emotionally attached, and believed that she was telling me the truth when she said she had parted ways with her ex-boyfriend for good. I invested time, love, attention and money. Last Christmas she went back with her ex. I even bought her presents and she took them. She didn't even have the guts to tell me face to face she was done with the marriage. I didn't know her ex basically still had access to her. No doubt she went right back to him. Her ultimate betrayal fricking hurts. I messaged her to say good luck. Her reply was, "Let's be friends." I'd like to think it's her loss, but right now it does not feel that way. Really, she lied to me. She told me she needed to finish an unfinished business with her ex, then she called to tell me she was still very much in love with her ex-boyfriend and wouldn't be coming back to me in Nigeria. It's a terrible place to be. I realized my mistakes a little too late. Apparently my wife has been cheating on me with her ex-boyfriend. Otherwise she wouldn't be bold enough to say she wasn't coming back to Nigeria. Not only is she not as into me as I thought, but she used me to get back at him. I didn't know she didn't care about we, us, and all, but instead, me, myself, and I was her major concern. Having me as an alternative was her cool way of living.
You see, sometimes, once the excitement of dating and wedding wear off, daily life activities begin to intrude in a relationship and you begin to see things you didn't see before the wedding. So you discovered that the tall grass wasn't greener on the other side after all, but was hiding a hell of a lot of nasty, harmful weeds. Are you only separated or are you divorced? If it's only a separation, perhaps it's time to send her the divorce papers so you can move on with your life and find someone far, far better.
I'm working towards divorce, but I am completely done with that sham of a marriage. I'm done with it, like I can't take it anymore, so I want to see if I can fix things up with my ex-girlfriend. Let me see if I can fix it. Oh my goodness. How did I do this to myself? Sandra invested a lot in me. Honestly, I regret ever leaving her or following my parents' orders and all that. My life is miserable right now. I don't know if she will ever accept me back. I messed up big time.
Your wife may come crawling back. I hope you don't take her back. Why would you want a lying, deceitful, adulteress in your life that you can no longer trust? She's shown you that she is no longer wife material. Time to cut the cord. I agree.
No. I'm done with the marriage. I can't take her back. It's extremely alarming how fast she got fed up with the marriage and ran back into her ex's arms. She left a marriage where a man dedicated his life around her, prioritized her, and planned to build a family with her. It really goes along with the narrative that many women don't actually love men, they just love what men can do for them. Until they get bored.
Isn't that calling a kettle black? You just described yourself. Greg bought a car and a fully furnished rented apartment as gifts for Sandra. He took Proverbs chapter 18 verse 16 literally in order to appease Sandra and win her back. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Greg is still married though. He needs to be properly divorced before coming back to Sandra, but he's in a rush to get her before any other guy does. He wants his ex-girlfriend back because his wife betrayed and dumped him for her ex-boyfriend. Would he go back for Sandra if his legal wife treated him well? He's probably feeling insecure, frustrated, and confused right now, but he's going to have to set all of these emotions aside right now so that he can focus on Sandra, who has just finished her university education. She's presently serving as a youth corporal and lived with her friend. Jane called Sandra and they agreed to meet at her house. So on the appointed day, she went with Greg to see her. The beautiful gift was parked in front of the compound Sandra lived. Jane told Greg to sit in her own car that was a little further down the street until she asked him to come out. So with heart racing he did as she advised and waited anxiously. Sandra came out of her compound to see Jane, who after exchanging pleasantries presented the car to her. She was confused. "Is this a prank?" she asked. She immediately went to the car and Greg could see her excitement. It was so glaring she loved it. But she wondered who the generous person was. It wasn't her birthday and she didn't have a boyfriend. It was very confusing. She loved the car because it had always been her dream to have one. She needed to see the mystery man. But when Sandra asked Jane who bought her the beautiful gift, she called Greg, who was watching from afar. Sandra was dumbfounded upon seeing him. How could this be? Many thoughts raced through her mind. She didn't know what to do. She took a deep breath, put her hands on her head and slowly gathered her thoughts.
Wait. I don't understand. Why are you here?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Greg was on his knees pleading and begging.
Sandra. Can you forgive me, please? I know I hurt you.
Are you okay?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't care. What? What are you doing here? What are you begging me for? Oh my God. What are you doing here? What are you sorry for?
Please. I'm so sorry, please. Please, look at me. Okay.
Answer my question. What do you want? What do you need from me? After all I did for you. This is how you repaid me. You are just on bended knees waiting for an opportunity to jump back in. It's not going to work.
Sandra dropped out of school, got a job, started working and invested in Greg so he could be a better person. She couldn't understand why he came back begging her forgiveness after he dumped her for another woman in spite of her sacrifice.
I can't believe you're here after all you did to me. You got married. You left me here in Nigeria. You got married and traveled abroad. I was working, and I gave you my money. My hard-earned money. My mother was sick in the village. She had nothing to feed and I gave the money. I should have given my mother to you. I got sick. I almost died. Where were you? Oh my goodness. Please, I'm going back in. Please, Jane, I'm going in. I don't want this. I just want you to leave me alone. I got sick. I almost died. Where were you? Oh my goodness. I just want you to leave me alone and never come back here again. You're ungrateful.
I messed up. I know. I know, but please give me a chance to make up for everything. Please give me a chance to make amends.
Sandra broke down in tears and sobbed. She remembered the pain, his betrayal, the ridicule and humiliation. She remembered the cruel way he dumped her and sobbed even harder.
I loved you. I believed in our love and what we shared. I gave you everything I could give those 5 years, but you threw them in my face and you left. We were together the very week before you traveled. You left me in Nigeria without a word. I was lonely. I was terrified and felt useless. I gave you my all. You took all of me, gave me hope and broke my heart. You promised me marriage, but you want to make me a second choice. You didn't even tell me anything. I'm sorry you can't make up for anything. You wasted my life. Can you please? Please. Oh goodness. Greg, you didn't tell me. The week you got married, we were together and you didn't tell me. How could you do that? That's so unfair. Do you think this car can erase the hurt? You think this nonsense, hey, this rubbish you brought, This rubbish you brought is going to take away everything you did to me. God will punish you. I loved you. I believed in our love and what we shared. I gave you everything I could give those 5 years, but you threw them in my face and you left. We were together the very week before you traveled. You left me in Nigeria without a word. I was lonely. I was terrified and felt useless. I gave you my all. You took all of me, gave me hope and broke my heart. You promised me marriage, but you want to make me a second choice. You didn't even tell me anything. I'm sorry you can't make up for anything. You wasted my life. Can you please? Please. Oh goodness. Greg, you didn't tell me. The week you got married, we were together and you didn't tell me. How could you do that? That's so unfair. You think this nonsense, this rubbish you brought is going to take away everything you did to me. God will punish you. Do you think this car can erase the hurt?
It was obvious Sandra was really traumatized when he dumped her. No matter the repair, the scar still remains. Greg knew it would take time and effort. He has to keep working till she feels safe enough to be in his company and start to trust him again. Greg dusted himself and sighed. Are you all right, Greg?
Jane, I'm good. I deserve every treatment she dished out to me. I should have stuck by her. I didn't let my parents know how precious she is to me. I wouldn't blame my parents much because I know they meant well for me. I understand parents are always apprehensive whenever their children want to marry. It was my responsibility to convince them no matter what it took me to make them understand how priceless Sandra is. Anyway, I will continue to talk to her and maybe involve someone she respects most. I'll work on her gently from afar. I won't pester her to take me back. I'll put in good effort with my parents and siblings to get her back. It might take some time, but she's worth the wait. I'll wait it out. I believe she will eventually come round. But Jane, do you think I still have a chance with her?
I hope so. You know you don't expect her to just accept your apology immediately. You understand, you don't expect her to just accept it just like that. So I think we'll have to come back. I'll keep calling her and talking to her, okay? Greg, you have to give her time. Let her really want you back, rather than trying to pressure her into making a decision. That way, when she's ready to take you back, it will happen naturally all by itself, without any prompting from you. Sandra couldn't process what is happening. It was hard for her. It was obvious she was really pained by your rude betrayal. You lost her trust when you left her. Now you have to prove yourself and build that trust again. If she is convinced at the end, she will open up to you again. But it will take a while for her to come around. Seeing you right now for the first time since you got married to the other woman has brought back her anger and pain because you left her without saying a word. But she will come around once she is convinced that you are genuinely remorseful. You shouldn't have flaunted a car at her face like that, like a car can fix his wrong. Building trust is more important. You also need to beg your parents to go to her parents and apologize formally for disregarding their daughter simply because of her state of origin. Jane pleaded for Sandra to meet again and she agreed. After a few more phone conversations between Jane and Sandra, she agreed to meet with them again at the same location. Again, Greg went with the car. He prayed silently she would take him back. Jane was able to persuade Sandra to come out of her compound and talk to them the second time. Greg was on his knees again begging. She was still the raging bull they met previously. She charged at Greg and pushed him again and again.
You invested in me, no doubt. You suffered for me. You catered for me. No doubt. I messed up. All right, I messed up by listening to my parents. That's on me, all right. I understand you are hurt, but please let me make up for it, all right? Please. Okay. If this car is nothing, fine, there's an apartment I rented for you. You can leave this place and move in, please.
Greg had cried himself silly. His eyes were puffy and he looked shabby. He loved Sandra dearly but didn't have the courage to go see her alone. The only grace he enjoyed was going with his intermediary. The only reason she gave him audience was because Jane was an older lady.
Greg, leave me alone. We can't be together anymore. I don't like it.
Can you give me a second chance?
Leave me alone.
I can't leave you.
Oh, you left me before. I was very sick. I was in the hospital. You didn't care if I died or not, and because your life is ruined now you think it's time for you to come back to me just like that. It's God that will punish you for breaking my heart. I think He's already punishing you.
No matter how much Greg begged, Sandra was resolute. She didn't want him back. Sandra went through the darkest days. She was the one who sacrificed her education when she dropped out of school for him to finish his, and she was the one who suffered when he left unceremoniously. Jane even joined Greg to plead for mercy. Anyways, after much pleading, Sandra finally forgave him. Greg was overjoyed. His persistence had paid off. He ran to her, cautiously asked if he can hug her. She nodded reluctantly and they hugged. There was love in the air again. Greg said he was ready to do anything she wanted.
Just tell me how to fix it and I will do it. I will do anything you want. Is it the marriage? I am ready. All right. I don't care what my parents think. If it means marrying you or taking you and running away from this country and get married, I will do it.
Sandra accepted the car and Greg was over the moon with excitement. He opened the car door and she sat in the driver's seat. Greg was overwhelmed. He smiled from ear to ear and couldn't believe he finally got through to her. She came out of the car, and for a while bent down and cried profusely.
I've got to take you to the apartment I rented for you. Yeah, we can go there if you don't mind.
Sandra nodded. Are you sure you want to go with him, Sandra? I don't want you to do anything you might regret.
Please. 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 Please go with me. I am so sorry, please. I don't care what anyone thinks about you. I am ready. I am ready to do anything you want.
Sandra cried as she held the car keys in her hand. Those must be tears of joy. Jane said. It was a beautiful ending. Greg and Sandra drove off that day and settled their differences. Afterwards, Greg showed her the apartment and she loved it. They got along really well. They talked and hanged out that same day. He took her out. They ate. They laughed and cried together. It was like the old time again. Greg was truly happy. Sandra even unblocked him from all social media platforms. That night, Greg couldn't even sleep. His joy was really intense. But all of a sudden she blocked him again. Greg had no option than to call Jane again for help.
Yeah, I called her number but she didn't pick my calls. I went back to where she stays and her roommate told me that she didn't want to see me, but she was in the room.
What?
I was like, what's going on again? I thought we were over this. I don't know what really happened. I know I've spent money at least. I rented that apartment for 1.5 million naira per annum. I'm not really bothered about that, but the fact that she hasn't even moved in is what bothers me. I'm willing to take my time with Sandra. I know I have messed up, and I'm ready to give her time, but the attitude again bothers me. I don't understand. She doesn't take her calls anymore. She blocked me all of a sudden. Come on. I called, but I sensed she didn't really want to interact with me anymore. I was still trying to believe she has forgiven me when suddenly she blocked me. I was stupid to hurt her in the first place.
Jane contacted Sandra again. She said she also needed to talk to Jane and get some things off her chest. She asked to speak with Jane privately, but she invited Greg. She wanted him to hear from the horse's mouth. I told your man you wanted to see me. My goodness. He was crying. What's happening? He's really remorseful, you know, but I understand you. I understand. Okay. So is there anyone you are dating now?
No, there is nobody. But actually I'm not interested in anyone for now. Anything that has to do with love now, count me out. I prefer being single and being alone.
No, you can't be single now.
I can't even begin to tell you what happened that time. So you know how hard it was for me to forgive him at the same time. But coming back again? No, I can't be with him again. I tried, but no. I even ignored his calls. He called my sister and my friends. I had to just told them not to bother me. No, I'm not doing it, Jane.
Oh, goodness. Inasmuch as I want you to forgive him, again I wouldn't want to force you into what your mind doesn't agree with. Nobody can force me to be with anyone I don't want to be with. I saw the love in his eyes. Please, forgive him.
If that thing didn't happen to him and his wife, he would not remember me. Would he have? I forgave him, but I can't just see us working out together again. I'm hurting inside despite the fact that I'm smiling or that I'm laughing. I just don't want anything else to do with Greg anymore. I don't know. He can have his apartment. It's too expensive. I can't afford the rent once it's due. He's in my past and I don't see him in my future at all.
Greg joined Sandra and Jane. He pleaded with her to reconsider him over and over again. But her mind was made up.
But you said you've forgiven me.
Yes. I've forgiven you, Greg. Well, I cannot see us coming back together. I'm not just feeling that connection. You don't want to give me time. You're not giving me time to make that connection. I loved you for 5 years, right? But right now, I can't feel that chemistry between us anymore. I think it still hurts me, right? You humiliated and deceived me. If that was your sister, how would you feel? I forgive you. I told you I forgive you already, but me and you working out will be very hard. I'm sorry for real. We can't be an item again. As for your car, if you want to ask about that. I've started a Uber transport business with it already. I mean, it's compensation for all I did for you for 5 years. Let me not leave empty-handed. So your honeymoon phase is over. I don't need you, Greg. If it was working together again between us, yes. But right now, I'm not seeing that, please.
I tried pleading. I have apologized. I don't even have any tears left to shed anymore.
Not now, so please you think you can eat your cake and have it? No. I'm done. Like I'm not seeing us. I'm not seeing us together. Thank you, Jane. I needed to talk to you so I have it off my chest. I can't do this with Greg. Honestly, I tried my best. I tried to move on. I'll never take you back when you disrespected me like that. You need to suffer the consequences and realize what you've thrown away. I mean, you should get the picture already. I wasn't picking your call. I blocked you. So what else are you looking for? I don't understand. Are you looking for manna from heaven? Oh please, I'm not doing this. You're not being fair. I still don't feel that connectivity anymore. I'm done. I'm done. I need to go, Jane. If your wife did not trash you, would you remember someone like me? So you think you can just throw me aside and trash me off, and pick me and say, Sandra is some forgiving type.
Please, oh. I'm not like that. Go and ask about me. I need to be with you, Sandra. I need you. My life is miserable without you.
I experience more satisfaction than I can describe, watching you try to creep back into my life. It feels so good to deny you. We have had a great relationship, no doubt. Life has ups and downs. I tried to overcome mine. So roll with the punches, just keep getting up and taking another swing at it. You might be lucky someday. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Please tell him not to touch me. I know I will still find someone who will love and adore me. Someone who will be loyal and honest with me. I wish you the best with your wife. Don't touch me, please. Don't let me get physical with you. In fact, I should leave now. I need to go away. Bye.
Sandra. 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 I can't believe I let Sandra slip away from my hands. You really don't know what you have until you lose it. Jane, you know she's this kind of person that when she's determined for something she goes through it. She's adamant she's done with me. It's over. She isn't going to give him a second chance. She's never wavered.
Make sure you just give her more time, she'll come around. How about the car?
I am actually not really concerned about the car, all right. Yeah, I'm not concerned about it. She can keep it, but I just want her back. Now that she is like this. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I've lost her.
You know, I can't force her to be with you when she doesn't want to. I need you to relax and seek God this time. Marriage without the help of the one who initiated it in most cases do not last. What I'm saying is you have to stop letting your emotions and yourself rewrite what God has said is the blueprint for marriage. Marriages don't work because people don't do it God's way. You are gambling with marriage as far as I can see. Let God choose for you. You have already made 2 mistakes. How many more can you take, Greg? Because you too will be miserable in that relationship. I just have to tell you. You really hurt her. You're trying, but let's be sincere, you're trying because your wife dumped you.
That's not fair.
It's not fair, I'm so sorry, but if she hadn't, so that means Sandra is your second choice. God didn't choose that woman for you, you did. Go to God and let him lead you to the best woman for your life. I don't believe you're wiser than God. If God gave you a recipe for a healthy, beautiful marriage and you want to add your own sugar and salt to it, or remove any ingredient, you will end up with disaster. And then you say, "Oh God, why did you let this happen to me?" No. It's not God. It's your own decision. Be wise, brother. A genuine godly desire and passion for the things of God. Fear of God, self-control, patience, kindness, prayer, and more prayer will give you a spouse that genuinely loves you and fears God. You can't succeed in marriage outside of God. There will be storms, but your faith in God will help you through. You can't marry someone who makes decisions anyhow. Be guided. Philippians chapter 4 verse 8 says, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things." Whenever you think about your marriage, think about this verse. It will help you to treat your spouse and marriage better. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell, like, and leave your comments. Thank you for watching my video, beautiful people. Until next time, bye and God bless you.